Hello guys, welcome to my Star Ocean 3 review. Star Ocean 3 Till the End of Time is definitely the most controversial entry in the Star Ocean franchise. From the vanilla Japanese version not working on fat model PS2s, to having what most would say is the worst plot twist in video game history, there are plenty of negative feelings towards this game. However, does the game deserve all of the hate, all the animosity, and more importantly, is it really that bad? Let's find out. As far as the story goes, Fayt Line God. I'm sorry. I will never get over that. That is his name. Anyway, Fayt Line God and his childhood friend Sophia Estede are on vacation together with their parents. They are, not too soon after rather, forced to evacuate due to an attack. Fayt is separated from his family when his escape pod crash lands on a different planet. And not too soon after, on that planet, he's rescued by an anti-Federation group known as Cork. This is where the story really takes off. And of course, as the ship leaves the planet, not too soon after, it crash lands on a different planet where most of the story takes place. Now, like I said before, the plot twist is really one of the main reasons why people hate this game. Fortunately for me, I had no problem with the plot twist in the game. I thought there were hints to it, during the game, so it didn't come out of nowhere. So I would say that it definitely wasn't bad. I didn't think it was a great plot twist. I would think a game like Tales of Symphonia had better plot twists, but even then, I still thought it was okay. I had no problem with it. My problem with the plot comes after the plot twist. From a narrative standpoint, the game just felt empty. There wasn't much character development or development of the universe as a whole, and solutions to the major problems that came as a result of the plot twist came way too easy. And it was just really disappointing. The game was shockingly shallow from a narrative standpoint after the plot twist. It was almost as if the writers of the story put the whole series, put all their chips in put all their chips in the center of the table, and they just phoned it in. Not soon after, it was disappointing to say the least. Although I will give them credit for the CGI cutscenes, which were awesome. Now, in terms of the characters, while some were clear or even subtle stereotypes, I thought they were good overall, including Fayt, which Fayt is not the best protagonist. I would say he's slightly better than, say, Asbel Lant from Tales of Grace's F. But that's just me personally. I will give them credit as far as the writing goes, because the script can be hilarious at many points in time. You can tell that they really tried to be a little bit comedic with the game. And most of that comedy, or rather most of that comedic tone, is in the first half of the game. Now, as far as the sound goes, the original soundtrack is kick-ass, with an awesome set of battle themes and songs that could be used in the Gundam series. Which, if you guys don't know, the Gundam series has notably great soundtracks. As far as the voice acting goes, it's a mixed bag, with voice actors like Michelle Ruff, Johnny Young Bosch, Crispin Freeman, Steve Staley, Wendy Lee, and Steve Blum. You would think that this wouldn't be the problem. Unfortunately, almost anyone that is not a part of the main cast or wasn't one of the voice actors I mentioned before was annoying. Like Tales of Symphonia, which is an interesting fact by the way, there are many scenes in the game that were not voiced, and I'm not talking about optional cutscenes. There are actually a surprising amount of optional cutscenes that were voiced. What I'm talking about are all of the cutscenes that take place during the story that you actually have to go through that aren't voiced. Now, most of them weren't really significant, but it still felt like they should have been voiced. Now, time for the gameplay. This game, being a part of the Star Ocean franchise, is of course an action RPG. You run around a 3D field, but one of the things that separates it from its competition is that attack skills use your HP, not either your MP or your TP or your SP, however you want to go about it. Also, magic points are used in the traditional sense, although they're almost exclusively used for magic, magic and spells. Now, I think one of the different things with this game in general is that you are limited by Fury. Basically, anytime you use any skill, like either a spell or an attack, uh, it takes off a certain percentage of your fury. Your fury basically governs how long you can attack for. So if a skill, for example, takes off 25% of your fury every time you use it, if you chain it 4 times, you're going to be out of fury and you have to stop and rest for about 2 or 3 seconds, and then it refills again. That was one thing I actually thought was a good concept. I didn't really hate it. I thought it worked. Now, one of the things I do not like about this game is that you can only use 3 characters, which this feels way too limiting, especially since in this game, non-active characters in your party do not level up, which means that by the end of the game, unless you've been grinding everyone, which will take a lot of time, you might have one group of characters that's far and away better than the rest of the group. So at that point in the game, by later on in the game, it becomes more about which group has the higher levels as opposed to which group has fits the situation better, like with the Tales series. Because a lot of times, since you wouldn't have to worry about leveling, you could just use the characters that you wanted instead of having to go with the characters that are the highest leveled. So that was one thing that I thought was kind of disappointing. Also, additional part about this is the SP system. Basically, whenever any characters level up, they gain SP, and your SP can go towards either your HP, your MP, your defense, or your attack. So it's really basic. It's really watered down from Star Ocean 2, which I can tell you that since I've actually been playing Star Ocean 2 since I finished this game. I'm only about 4 hours in, but I can already tell you that the SP system is done better in Star Ocean 2 than it is in Star Ocean 3. Now, I think that if you are not a fan of really complex skill development systems, then you might actually like Star Ocean 3's way of handling, development of your characters. Now, one of the major things of this game that isn't really used too often in Japanese games in general is item creation. And I mean that in the sense of the way that it's done here. You have workshops that are set around in the main planet that you're on for most of the game, and there are inventors out in the world that you can get by having items and giving those items to them, or by just simply giving them money. And also, the way that item creation works is that you have your inventors in workshops, and you have different means of creating items. You have alchemy, compounding, crafting, smithery, engineering, and synthesis. There might be one that I'm missing, but oh well. Also, there's cooking, and you can all these different methods of item creation, create different things. So in my opinion, there is depth to it, although it can be really tedious since you have to constantly select what type of creation you're doing, and able to because the values that they give you for each item is random, and you have to constantly reselect either original plan or original invention rather, or a specified plan. You have to constantly select that over and over again until you get the value that you want, because the item that you create is based off of how much it costs. So, long story short, this is a very complicated system. There's a whole website dedicated solely to item creation in the game. So, if you like your deep, item creation systems, this is definitely a good game to do that in. Private Actions Return, where you go to towns you've already been to, and you talk to your party members to influence Fayt's relationship with them and change the personal ending for Fayt. Long story short, they're limited, and they're not as good as Star Ocean 2, which I already explained. I've been playing that a little bit, and I can already tell you that, and at least with as far as the SP and the private actions go, those are both extremely watered down. Now, you guys may get the sense that this isn't my favorite game, and you would be right. However, I definitely feel that it is a good game, with a lot of good ideas that are executed reasonably well. It certainly isn't a game that Tri-Ace should be ashamed of. It's shocking that this game hasn't received either another port or even just an HD remaster. It's shocking. It's a good game. I would say it's definitely a good overall game. I mean, you're going to get more enjoyment out of the gameplay than anything else, yes. But it's still a good game. From a narrative standpoint, I would still say it's better than Star Ocean 4 or Star Ocean 5. The characters aren't just blatant stereotypes. They don't insult my intelligence. they're much better than that. Now, I can already tell you it's not going to be as good as Star Ocean 2, or at least rather Star Ocean 2 is going to be better from a narrative standpoint. I'm already liking Star Ocean 2 as a story better, but even then still, this is still a good game, and they should at least put the PS2 version on PSN. How much money can it cost them to just give Sony the ISO and say, here, put it on PSN? I don't understand what the big deal is, but that's their choice. Anyway, I think this game is just a reminder to all of us. Don't listen to everyone and just go along haphazardly and say, oh yeah, the game sucks because some person said it sucks. Unless in the case where it's so blatantly obvious that the game is just a pile of crap that anyone can see it. Unless that's the case, you should try and give every game a chance. And I didn't really say this earlier in the review, but I got a good 60 hours out of the game. And that isn't even going with the, doing the post-game stuff. Which I'll be doing because, by the way, the final boss was horrible. It was so easy that I can't even believe how easy it was. It was so disappointing. The game only costs like $20. You can get a good copy of it for around that price. So, for that price, it's definitely a good buy. And even if you don't own an original PS2, like I've shown on my channel, there are ways to play PS2 discs on your PC. And trust me, that's actually how I played the game as well. And it looked great. Anyway, that's my review of Star Ocean 3 till the end of time. Thanks for watching this review, and I'll see you guys next time.